Last time on Final Fantasy VII.
Y'all gotta look at the bigger picture here. Nothing worth fighting for was ever won without sacrifice. Though you may not be crying out, I know you're in pain, just like the planet. But it's okay, cause I'm here for you, to help take the load off your shoulders. Your fears, your worries, your concerns, and yes, your feelings. Whatever your problem, I got you. We'll split up and shoot for the last train home. Regroup in the freight car. Got it?
Later then.
Hey, I'd like my money now.
You can have it once we're back at base.
That line brokers no argument. Barrett is not dealing with Cloud shit right now. Welcome back to the series where we discuss story, world building, and design elements of Final Fantasy VII Remake. This video series assumes you've played the original Final Fantasy VII and will reference things from the original game that may be spoilers for future Final Fantasy VII Remake sequels. It's an interesting name for a building, Mrs. Arcade. Most people think video games when they see arcade, but the word refers to an arched passageway, basically like what you see here with the doorways and the windows. I initially took Mrs. Arcade to be a sexualization of the art, like women's open legs. It's hard to say what the artist's intentions were here, though. Midgar continues to remind me a lot of New York City. The stone buildings, the window AC units, the winding fire escapes, they all remind me of bland housing projects where I lived until my teenage years. All the falling rubble is probably what caused all the fires that we see in the background too, especially the burning cars. It's interesting watching how developers manipulate assets to improve performance while keeping details in the scene. So the firemen down there are very simple assets. When I move back and forth here, they kind of slide unnaturally around the 3D environment. It makes me wonder if they're 2D assets. They also have no animation, and the water just has a very slight animation, so the eye doesn't get fixated on it when you're in the distance quickly panning your camera around.
I don't need to tell you what this is, right?
Of course not. It's healing materia.
Its healing materia is clearly for the player. It feels very unnatural in this dialogue.
Just doing my job. Nothing more.
Yeah. Fact is, I'm lucky you were there.
Am I beating a dead horse at this point talking about how awkward Cloud is? Because, like, seriously, guys.
Skill. And you can't rely on luck.
Words to live by.
Yeah, well, thanks.
You do know how to use it, right?
You do know what I was, right?
I know it gives Cloud a lot of shit for what a jackass he can be, but I kind of don't blame him for this bit of snark right here. The materia system is one of the most popular aspects of the original Final Fantasy VII, and there were more than a few people who compared it favorably to the junction system in Final Fantasy VIII. I think it was smart for Square Enix to leave it intact. There's nothing here that looks all that different from what we had in the original game.
I have to get home. Are there any trains? The shelf tipped over and I went, and I jumped out of the way.
Midgar is a leveled city with massive plates covering entire sections. You can see this back in Episode 1's opening pan of the city. I wonder if we're under a plate here looking up at the darkness above with the cloud-looking wisps being smoke from the fires, or if we're up on the top level looking at the sky with those wisps being clouds. The lack of stars could just be light pollution after all.
I repeat. This is an alert from the Shinra Emergency Operations Center. Unidentified intruders have detonated.
You see here, when we get closer, we have a much more fleshed out asset for the firefighters. And now we can actually see both materia slots being used in Cloud's sword. I really like the detail a lot.
Structures in the area are at high risk of collapse, rendering the entire sector hazardous. Immediate evacuation is advised. If you observe any suspicious behavior,
Cloud!
please
Up
inform
here!
the nearest
Look
public
up!
security officer.
I said look
You may
up!
alternatively contact security.
This feels like the game is teaching us to use our camera, but it's really late at this point. We're well over an hour into it, and that includes fighting enemies that are on higher points of elevation. I really don't understand what the point of this is right here. Does no one have any issue with this guy wandering around carrying a massive sword in his back? Like, is Midgar an open carry city?
Need a stretcher. ASAP.
We'll get you to a doctor soon. Hang in there. If you really want to get to the station, you can always climb those stairs. Try picking your way across the rubble. That was insane.
These giant pipes are strange. You may have also noticed pipes going into the buildings earlier in the video. I'm assuming they're carrying Mako energy around the city, but why wouldn't these pipes be completely underground? I feel like this is done for purely aesthetic purposes by someone without a basic understanding of city planning. Think about how rare it is in the real world to see any sort of electric, phone, water, internet line, anything the sort above ground. Usually they get buried alongside roads as the city is first planned out. Who is that? That is super creepy. Cloud's got some serious PTSD over the burning of his home, Nibelheim. And here we can see that Sephiroth is a casual 8 feet tall. Seriously, this is ridiculous. Cloud's supposed to be 5'7", and Sephiroth's supposed to be 6'1". My two best friends are also 6 inches taller than I am. I'm 5'6", and they're both 6 foot even. My natural eye level sits at about their lip chin area. Cloud is so short compared to him. Like, could the art designers not just grab a ruler and figure this out? This sequence, kind of walking through this almost distorted looking fire, reminds me a lot of Spec Ops The Line. It's a great third-person shooter that tackles PTSD and also acts as a reimagining of Joseph Conrad's novel Heart of Darkness. Highly recommend it. And the PTSD Cloud's freaking out here does really come from the burning of his hometown of Nibelheim. The name's kind of interesting. Nibelheim is a dwarven city in some Wagner epic I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of. I don't know a whole lot about it. A light reading about the epic and what happens in it makes me think the writers just kind of took the name because it sounded interesting. If you're more familiar with this than I am and you think that there is more of a tie between Nibelheim or anything else in Wagner's epic and Final Fantasy VII, let me know down in the comments. I'm really just not familiar enough with it, and I'd love to get more details.
You're not real. You're dead.
I am.
I killed you with my own...
Oh, you need not remind me. It was the crowning moment of our time together. But that was then, and this is now. I have a favor to ask. Our beloved planet is dying. Slowly. Silently. Painfully. Can you bear to see the planet suffer? Cloud. so many things would be lost. Your hometown that burned so bright. The sound of her voice, pleading for me to spare you. The shiver of her flesh, yielding to cold steel. That which binds us together would be no more, and I would be loath to live in such a world, which is why I must ask you this one favor. Don't worry, it's a simple thing. Run, Cloud. Run away. You have to leave. You have to live.
You bastard!
Good, Cloud. Very good. Hold on to that hatred.
I'm seeing things. Fumes from all the Mako, maybe. All right. You got this.
The world is dying. That's really interesting. It sounds like they're trying to tie Sephiroth more into the Avalanche story. And the original Final Fantasy VII, like Sephiroth had almost nothing to do with Avalanche. The eco-terrorist group were basically there to start the plot and also start the theme of literally saving the planet. Like, you're not saving the world in an abstract sense, but in a very literal sense. But they were really used almost never outside of the first act of the story.
It is not safe to remain indoors. Please
Sephiroth's motivations were always a little hazy to me, and his powers also made little to no sense. I hypothesized that being influenced by Genova spells in utero, Sephiroth is more heavily affected than the later members of the Soldier Program and experiments leading up to the Soldier Program, but like, it was never really stated that this was the case. I only believe this because it's kind of the only way to explain some of the crazy powers he has, like the fact that he can control all other people imbued with Genova cells, or the ability to just choose not to die, like just choose not to return to the life stream when he was killed. Like, these powers, other characters with Genova cells just don't have them. Not even Cloud, who becomes ridiculously powerful by the end of the game. I'd like a lot more clarification on that. More so, though, I'm hoping the earlier World is Dying line is going to give us more on his motivations. Sephiroth wanted what? To hit the planet with a meteor to gain the power of the life stream? I mean, okay, but why? The meteor was going to destroy the planet. Was he looking to be the god of nothing, to gain godhood and instantly die? Like, did he think he could survive the vacuum of space? What if he could? Was he going to, like, find Genova's homeworld? What in the world was Sephiroth's game plan? Like, what was his goal? I could shrug him off like being a complete psychopath, like Kefka was in Final Fantasy VI. Like, Kefka was clearly written that way from the very beginning of the game. Sephiroth actually seemed pretty normal when you get the flashback sequences, up until he reads Dr. Hojo's research notes in Nibelheim, which is also confusing. Like, I really hope they clean that up too, because you later come back to Nibelheim and you read these notes also. So Sephiroth reads them and he walks out talking about how Genova's his mother, but you go back and you read the same damn books and you walk out, pretty obvious that his mother is Lucretia, however you pronounce her name. Like, how could he have missed this? It's really confusing, and I don't know if it's an issue with writing or with translation, but either way, like, it makes Sephiroth completely unrelatable.
Don't let the intruder escape.
So they're looking for the intruder. I'm assuming that Shinra HQ must have sent them images from us from their earlier security footage. That sequence, where Heidegger is talking to the president. I'm guessing they have those images. I wonder if those are spirits from the live stream that she's seeing. But she can't see Sephiroth. That's kind of interesting.
You are too weak to save anyone. Not even yourself.
Are you okay? Hey, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Here, this is for you.
Huh? A flower?
That's right. It's a gift. You know, for scaring those things away.
What things?
Never mind. Think of it as a memento.
Just my luck.
I heard that, you know.
I'm good.
Oh, don't be like that. I know you want one. When was the last time you saw a real flower, huh? Plus, it'll make your girlfriend's day. I guarantee it.
How much?
Well, that depends on the customer. In your case... it's on the house. Lovers used to give these when they were reunited.
This line right here makes me think she's already seeing Zack and Cloud, like even this early in the game.
Look, I'm
Also,
involved in things.
again, probably beating a dead horse,
Dangerous
but look
things.
how Cloud takes that step back when she
I'm
takes
sure
a
you
step
are.
forward. Like he is
So?
terrified of women.
So keep your distance.
Wait, you think someone's out to get you? Is that what you're all worked up about? Relax. No one's going to attack you. I promise.
Hey, a Mako reactor just blew. You shouldn't be out here trying to sell.
Help me!
So after she touches Cloud, he can also see the spirits. Maybe they're not just live stream. Maybe they're spirits of ancients, and that's why she sees them and other people don't. And it's interesting.
What are they?
Drop your weapon!
Are you blind?
You know, you're right.
Wait!
Nice meeting you.
I mean, the pleasure was mine.
Sword on the ground! Right now!
That's that.
Another quick combat note, I think it's really cool that single button presses of square will lead to you doing a single character oriented chain, but if you hold the square button down, it will lead to you performing the AoE chain. It's kind of cool.
Nothing to it.
There he is! You're not going anywhere!
This is Sector 8 4. We have eyes on the target.
That's that.
We need backup. I repeat, 4 requesting immediate backup.
And avoid the plaza near the expressway.
People, why are there decimals in the prices? Look at my Gil when I open my menu. There's no decimals in Gil. Like, come on. This is the type of stuff that murders your world building for no reason.
Just give it up! Don't run! Take him!
Box him in! Box him in! There's nowhere to run!
You're mine.
When we return, we'll see how Cloud handles the ambush, see if the rest of the Avalanche has gotten to the rendezvous point without problem, and as always, if you want to chat, throw a comment down, or come hang out with me on Twitch, where I stream Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. A link will be in the description. Peace out.